Temperatures. Every night after the maintenance hangar dimmed its cold white lights, the African-American male engineer still stands silent.
The female engineer, aged 22 to 25, walks beneath the aircraft wing inside the clean and quiet space.
The workers aged 22 to 25 still crouch beside the landing gear bay, even though the shift is nearly over. Because from the outside, many people always think that aircraft engineers must live under enormous pressure and could never sleep peacefully. None of them are allowed to forget that thousands of safe flights every day are actually built from millions of extremely small and extremely precise decisions.
What outsiders find hardest to understand is that the more these engineers know about risks, the calmer they become instead of panicking the way most people imagine.
That calmness does not come from ignoring danger, but from understanding exactly where danger appears and how the system was designed to control it.
That is why the real question is not why aircraft engineers are unafraid of risk, but how they can still sleep peacefully while understanding every worst possible outcome. In the normal operating state of aviation, no aircraft is allowed to fly simply because it looks fine to the human eye. Every day the male engineer works with inspection checklists so long that outsiders may consider them absurd, but for him they are
The female engineer never trusts personal memory when handling critical systems, because aviation is built on the assumption that humans can always
The young workers inside the hangar never change the order of procedures, even after performing them hundreds of times.
Beneath the matte gray metallic shell of the narrow-body aircraft are countless layers of redundancy, designed under the assumption that failures will certainly occur someday.
One electrical system may fail, but another will replace it. One sensor may become inaccurate, but another will cross-check.
Inside the clean and disciplined environment behind the terminal, every task is recorded through data, rather than through emotion or personal belief.
Values confirmed on Sector 4.
Noted.
The female engineer may spend dozens of minutes simply confirming one tiny connection point, because in this industry there is no such thing as a small error that does not matter.
From the outside, the entire process may appear slow and obsessed with risk, but that disciplined slowness is
Yet precisely inside the place filled with countless control procedures, a major contradiction begins to appear in the minds of many outsiders. If engineers understand that any system can fail and any human can make mistakes, why are they still confident enough to allow the aircraft to take off? If they truly see every risk every day, why does that fear not keep them awake at night or constantly haunt them with thoughts of accidents? The male engineer sometimes stares for a long time at an engine being tested at night and understands that no machine can ever be absolutely perfect. The female engineer has also witnessed small details that seemed harmless, eventually leading to serious failures in aviation engineering reports around the world. The young workers inside the hangar also understand that a single bolt tightened with the wrong force could create consequences far beyond what ordinary people can imagine. The contradiction lies in the fact that the more they understand danger, the more calmly they work, instead of becoming more afraid. That makes many people mistakenly believe that engineers have become emotionally numb to risk after years of working in a high-pressure environment. But the reality is completely the opposite, because it is precisely their extreme sensitivity to danger that led them to build dense. Fear in aviation does not disappear. It is simply transformed into procedures, data, cross-checking, and absolute discipline in every smallest action. The male engineer is able to sleep not because he believes accidents are impossible, but because he knows the entire system was designed to constantly hunt for failures before they become disasters. The female engineer does not search for reassurance through vague belief, but through thousands of layers of technical verification carried out silently every day.
The young workers inside the hangar do not try to become brave in front of danger, but instead learn to respect danger.
Aviation differs from many other industries because it does not assume humans will always be correct, but instead assumes mistakes will inevitably appear.
Therefore, aircraft safety does not lie in completely avoiding every error, but in the ability to detect failures before they become large enough to create consequences.
The Middle Eastern male engineer often feels calmer after a stressful shift, because the more carefully he inspects, the more he sees
The female engineer can sleep peacefully after completing the technical report, because what truly keeps her awake is not the existence of risk.
Inside the clean space behind the terminal, Everyone understands that transparency about errors is more important than trying to prove personal perfection. This culture of accepting that errors may exist is what has made aviation one of the safest technical environments in the modern world. In other words, aircraft engineers sleep peacefully not because they forget about risk, but because they spend their entire day directly confronting risk instead of avoiding it.
This creates a major difference between aviation thinking and the way many other industries usually think. In many ordinary environments, people often seek reassurance by avoiding thoughts about the worst possible outcome.
But inside the maintenance hangar behind the terminal, the male engineer and the female engineer continuously imagine. The ordinary people often become afraid when thinking too much about risk, while aviation engineers feel more endangered when nobody is willing to think about it. The young workers inside the hangar understand that the most dangerous form of confidence is believing there is no need to check something again. Therefore, their calmness is not blind optimism, but the result of thousands of hours of inspection, verification, and continuous cross-checking.
Male engineer does not sleep peacefully because he believes accidents are impossible, but because he knows every layer of protection was created by people who constantly question their own systems.
These are the inspection results and the sensor data for cross-checking.
Everything aligns, including the thermal analysis?
Yes, the data confirms the projections perfectly.
The young workers are not calm because they understand less about risk, but because they were trained to transform fear into precise and disciplined action. That is also why aviation always considers subjectivity a far greater threat than admitting that danger exists everywhere.
After everything, what allows aircraft engineers to sleep peacefully is not the belief that no failures will ever occur in the future.
What truly keeps them calm is knowing that the entire system is operated by people who are always prepared for the possibility that failure may happen at any moment.
Inside the quiet nighttime light of the maintenance hangar, the male engineer looks one final time at the aircraft with a face that is deeply certain.
The East Asian female engineer closes the technical data display and walks slowly across the floor, reflecting white.
It is created by people who always look directly at danger instead of turning away from it, then transform.
And that is also the deepest reason why aircraft engineers can still sleep peacefully every night, even though they are the people who understand risk. What truly gives them peace is not the belief that they are more perfect than others, but knowing that every person inside the system